So you're a bit of a dick to us for a while, though.
I was not.
In a good way. You were very anti-Bitcoin. You made Bitcoiners feel bad.
I wasn't. Yeah, but that's not being a dick. See, this is the problem with fucking people that are like obsessed with like momentum bullshit stocks, like pre-revenue garbage, story stocks, whatever. They take all this shit personally, and it's just not personal. Like,
I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just like, you might be kidding, but there's a lot of people out there who aren't. Like, there's a lot of people out there that, like, if you tell them, like, you think Carvana has major accounting irregularities and they're a Carvana shareholder, they take it like you're insulting their, like, grandmother. And it's just not that way. Like, the public markets, whether you're speculating in Bitcoin or in equities or whatever it is that you're out there, you're long or short, there's always going to be somebody on the other side of the trade. And it's always just business, you know, like
sure.
It's never personal. Like, so, I mean, for me, I didn't have any beef with Bitcoiners in general. And for the most part, like as a libertarian, if I see something that I don't like, I just avoid it. Like I don't go, you know what I mean? Like I think Kathy Wood's a moron. Okay. So
libertarians are so good at that. The Libertarian Party has no interest in winning. Like they just avoid it at all times.
Well, there was a tweet yesterday where it was
hey,
like,
Keita's here.
It was like,
would you like to say something?
Yeah, maybe. It was like libertarians. Why do they're so tired of fighting everybody? Why don't they focus on the real enemy? Libertarians.
Yeah.
Of just like
in some way that's true.
Yeah.
In some way that's true.
So what was the hang up or like the blocker with Bitcoin? What was like the breakthrough? Because now like I feel like you have been very just interested in a lot of these things. I think particularly like Larry Lepard's approach, Lynn Alden's approach resonates with you a bit.
They've shaped a picture for me. You know, I'm smart enough to know that there are people smarter than me. And I think like Lynn Alden, Luke Groman, Larry Lepard, like those people, I think they're just smarter than I am, you know, because those are the people that I listen to that shape the way I think about investing and the way I think about markets. You know, I saw them all kind of embrace it, you know, because listen, the first thing I did was I watched scores and scores and scores of, you know, hyenas talking shit basically as like a long thesis, which to me, as you know, I was a professional short seller for years. Like I'm generally a skeptic. I'm generally a cynic. That's an immediate turnoff because that type of behavior is synonymous with story stocks.
Yep.
And so then you look at this asset that you don't really understand completely because it's completely digital. And being a gold guy, I knew the whole Austrian case immediately. So for me, you know, coming to the understanding of how the blockchain works, you know, how the network kind of is this organic entity, how the peer-to-peer nature of it works, that was all like really important to me. It was only after doing that I started to get to a point where I wasn't 100% sold, but I at least thought that, you know, it could get me to a jumping off point where I could say, okay, it's kind of worth taking a leap of faith on. And there's still so much shit that I don't understand about it. You know, you guys get together and do your talks about level 2 and nodes and ordinals and this and that. And like, you know, I don't understand it. I could if you explained it to me, but quite frankly, I don't give a fuck. You know, I just know that like Larry Lepard made a good analogy one time with Bitcoin and the internet. And that made sense to me because I understand enough to know that it's an entity in and of itself and that it does hold promise that could be larger than what I, you know, really am too lazy to try to wrap my head around right now. And so for me, it's a small allocation relative to Bitcoin, relative to gold. But for me, it's worth it because I actually do think that there is some type of like power to the people involved with Bitcoin because it does kind of fit as an exit ramp for people that want to get out of the fiat system. And it has, no matter whether it goes to 0 or a billion, it will have already empowered an entire generation of people to understand monetary policy in a way that they wouldn't have done prior. And for that, I think that's just like incredible, you know, because the average guy on the street now can tell you like why increasing the money supply is going to cause inflation when that never would have happened. because the Fed was just baffling people with bullshit for years, and everybody was too busy actually being fucking productive and providing products or services, being a plumber or, whatever. My dad was a mailman. He's not going to come home and cook dinner for the family and then sit down and be like, all right, let's get started on this monetary policy. Like, what about Greenspan? Do you think that guy's lying? Like, nobody has fucking time to do that. So I like Bitcoin because it has kind of like enabled people to understand those things. And for me, it's enough to take a small bet and just say, yeah, fuck it, let's go with it. Like, I'll ride with you guys. And that's why I'm here. That's why I invested in PubKey, the bar that we're at. It's just disclosure to everybody. It's a very small investment.